Great. Let's onegaishimasu. Just start a little bit in the body. You just keep the gel in front. Play with the feet, the toes, stretching up the arches a little bit, sinking onto the back of the heels. Just lightly bringing the jaw up, down. Okay, coming front to back. And what you can do when you explore this one is if you keep the feet flat on the ground. Yeah, if you keep the knees totally free, you don't really need to do this, but just explore a little bit, working the shins if you do it, kind of forward, backwards. Do it. And feel free also change the posture. You can go one step in front. So you can explore a little bit more the front back movement. Just placing the front in front will just let you explore a little bit more. Just exploring the balance shifting across the front, the back. Very lightly, just bring the hands into it. Okay, and then working side to side. You're working the blades of the feet. Feeling the weight of the body swing across the one leg. And just explore this fully, kind of sinking into one leg. Just let the other leg slightly raise out of the ground. And just feel it's getting pulled out of the ground by the hip as it goes. If you want to, you can use the jaw as a kind of support a little bit. Good. And just bring the body back down. And start to bring the hands into it a little bit more. Whole body's going to go with it. Slightly stretching the body out. Very loosely. Good, and then just come into a rotation. The body nice and centered. If you like with the jaw, just to kind of help a little bit the idea of the rotation, you can just switch it to one hand. Just open the body up a little bit more. And if you feel like it, if you feel kind of locked in the knees a little bit, just open the other foot out. With that foot, you can let it really come out of the ground. Just working a kind of spiral from the hip. Try and keep the spiral nice and tightly within the base of the 2 feet. We don't do it too far out. Keep it nice and easy, dropping into the feet. So more and more, what you can also do is like this. Just keep the hands on it and let the jaw kind of roll through it. Shifting through the jaw. The hands just gently touch together. And really trying to anchor the movement again down. Now, the moment I do something like that, you'll feel the body's going to get pulled out. So really important now, let the body sink down into the base. Just working a kind of horizontal. So, and then just start to take the jaw a little bit more into diagonals. Slowly, slowly. And the hands just going to touch and then split. Touch and split. That's it. That's it. Now that movement really is coming from the back. So this is opening out. So you're really stretching open the body, dropping it down, stretching open it. That's it. So try and feel that the hips are pulling the hands apart. Hips, hips, hips. That's it. That's it. Good. Just keep going a little bit. That's it. Nice, nice, nice. It's just a way you can also work the hips into it. So we can do something like this. Keep the jaw tight to the body. And I'm really practicing getting the hands talking with the hips. Get this. And then it's a feeling like I kind of wind into it, wind into it, wind into it, and then let it go with the body. So you just find a kind of strike out. And then just do one on the other side. So you do this. The hands are kind of thumbs pointing together. You can do it other ways, but this one's the easiest. Just kind of wind in, wind into it, and then come down into it. So it's a kind of gathering motion. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Just watch the hip. This is a good one because watch the hips as you do this. Have the jaw in contact with the body. Now, what I don't want to happen is something like that. So all this is doing is oscillating the top of the body outside of the base. So get this feeling down, and then as you go, feel that the hips, the shoulders, that alignment basically stays. So just think that the shoulder and the hip are going to work together. Now, if they're working separately or they're working against each other, the body's kind of splitting up. So really feel that. And the jaw's just kind of feedback on where the shoulders are in terms of the hip work. Just let it all follow. You can also put the jaw here or here, but just get this feeling that the hips are connecting with the shoulders totally. And in this case, the hips take priority over the shoulders, so the shoulders follow the hips in this case. And then that. And once you got into it, just get this idea, you're just going to kind of strike into it. So you can sometimes do 2 or 3. Come back, wind it up. Roll into it. You know, it's really slow as well. It's not really to do with speed. It's mostly coordination. And you want to start coordinating the upper with the lower. And the lower is always going to take precedence in this case. That's it. And this is why the weapon works great, because everything's telling you do it with the top of the body. Do it in the front. And what you need to do is do it with the base and the back of the body. That's it. Great. Good. And we'll just introduce a little bit of footwork now. So you're in this position. You're going to roll back with the body and then press it forward into the strike. So you roll back press it forward to the strike. Do it nice and light, and again, it's just about getting the coordination. I want the hands and the feet to be working together, so the shoulders follow the hips. Hips come in, and press it down. And much more, not really concerned with the power in the jo as a strike, but the weight in the body. So get this feeling that as you go back, weight really, really heavy in the body. Rolling back and then engaging in, pressing in forward. Do 2 or 3 on one side and then shift, depends what you like. You can also just shift each time, but coming in. Rolling back, rolling in. That's it. Rolling back, rolling in. That's it. Okay, good. Okay, so just notice the kind of function of the hip in this case. So one of the hips is kind of an anchor for the movement, and the others is really going to facilitate the movement. So as you go back, the front hip becomes a kind of anchor for the movement. So this is going to be quite stable. And also that shoulder as well. So the shoulder and the hip perform a kind of similar action. So they kind of anchor the jo into the body. And then what you want to do is you go through this arm, and this hip. They're really quite flexible. So this is where you've got the hard and the soft in both sides, in both aspects of the body. So, but you need a clear anchor. If I'm just soft all over, everything goes. And if I'm kind of hard all over, everything does this kind of stuff. So I need to clearly know, like, the function of the hip in this case is to really anchor the movement down this hip. And this shoulder's again, really anchoring the jo. And then as you go through, this side can be really flexible. And this is what we do when we do a Riminage. So this kind of feeling. Through and then through. And only at that part, really both sides kind of come back together again in terms of being strong. Just get this feeling, just play with it a little bit and just allow this hand really freedom and the back hip too. So you can do it with hardly any contact on the jo. Just kind of pressing down through it, but just play with it. The main hip to get is this anchor, is the anchor in the ground. So without that, I don't have any power at all because I don't have really balance in the movement. So just get this idea of that front leg, front hip, front shoulder. Nice strong anchor. And this is really body work, it's not so much jo work, although you can apply a little bit to jo work. Much more about the body. That's it. That's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, and then just try, we'll take this another way next, but just try really now with an open hand. So this hand you can have on the base, so it's a bit tricky because of the weight of the jo. So you can be a little bit further up. Now that back hand is just going to be open. So you're going to be in contact with the blade of the hand or the blade of the forearm as well. So as you go back now, you've got this, rolling back, and then rolling in, rolling into. And this hand in this case is quite passive again. It's going to be a kind of anchor for the movement, because what I'm interested in is that. So it's much more now about that arm. And this hip, you can also anchor it right to the hip directly. And it's really just to give me some feedback in terms of kokyu work. So you're going to roll back. Now the key is that I don't go over the top. You go roll underneath it. So I'm going to keep the contact elbow here and then rolling through it this way. So this is the feeling of being constantly underneath the weapon, even though I'm actually on top of the weapon. That's the kind of that. And you can also just play with it just here, just here. I want the feeling all the time that relationship between the elbow and the hip is changing. So it's constantly, it's never in one fixed position like that. It's always fluid. But it's always strong as well. So the extension is always full. Rolling back, rolling in. Just to get used to it, just start to make it a bit bigger, which means really making the hip work bigger. There. There. And start to get the feeling like the jo's really fluid as well. So it's not just a kind of stick. I'm not going to treat it like a stick. I'm going to treat it as something fluid to roll the body through. You've got a kind of fluid dynamic with it, which you're creating yourself, which is strange, but play with it a little bit. This is one of the, in terms of kokyu work, we talk a lot about spirals, and then how we translate it is like an arcing move, something like that, or even just a straight line movement, something like that. But really get a sense that what you're doing is spiraling with the arms. So that means and creating an alignment through the structure, which is really spiraling. So the forearm's doing that. And if you want to really exaggerate, it's doing that. But it's not doing something like this. That's really straight, that's really, you can do straight line, you can do kind of arcing movements, you can do circular movements, but the ideal for us is really something that's going to spiral. And that means it's going to be spiraling from the core. So just play with it a little bit, but really get this distinction between passing spiral through the whole structure. Because the arm's the most flexible in terms of this alignment in this situation, that's where you're going to see the spiral the most. So it's going to be most obvious in the spiral, in the hand, but it's actually coming from the hip. So just exaggerate it a little bit as well. And the jo's just there to give me a little bit of feedback on the structure of the arm. Really play with this a little bit. And once you've got that feeling of the spiral, just start to move the body around a little bit. And step back with it. You can rotate into it. All these movements that we've got, kokyu-nages, ikkyos, they all really function on spirals. Let's try it. That's it. That's it, Nick. Yeah. Good. Okay, this is a bit tricky. You've got to, it's a bit like Evil Dead. No one maybe you've seen Evil Dead. I don't know if you've seen Evil Dead before. One guy gets possessed, one of his hands gets possessed by a demon, so it starts to do other things. And he's not in control of the hand, right? So what you've got to do in this case is this hand in the jo, you've got to act against yourself. So it's a bit like you're trying to hit yourself with the jo. So you've got to kind of press the jo into the body a little bit. It's a bit strange because you've got to do it yourself and you're actually coming into different positions you're coming into strange positions with the body. But just feel that the jo's going to kind of come into the body. Yeah, and I need that contact and I'm just going to kind of cut it away. It's going to come in and I'm just going to kind of cut it away. And just get used to just a strange feeling. The first few, you might just want to get used to just hit yourself a little bit, very lightly. just so you get used to what I need to do with the 𝒊. Trying to take yourself in the face, it's quite dangerous, but anywhere it's quite soft, you can also hit. But just get this kind of feeling. And once I've got it, just get the feeling that you can just pass it through. This is quite strange because I know what I'm going to do, so I've got a little bit surprised myself and make it a bit tricky for myself. But it's amazing how much you can catch yourself out just by doing something like that. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So do this lightly first, because we're Aikido people and we're trained from day one to go off the line all the time, pretty much all the time. So everything you learn, especially as a beginner from the first few years, is everything's kind of off the line. You go off the line because you have to. So in this case, I actually don't have to go off the line because it's very light. So the 𝒊s come in lightly to the body. So when you do this, just contact and press the hips. So you don't actually have to move the body, but just play with the 𝒊s coming in here. And it can be like a strike, but you might also want to try like a kind of soft pressure in. So I get the structure in place, and then there's a soft pressure coming in from this hand. So this hand's doing that, and this hand's just going to take it somewhere else. So you've got that, and this is kind of testing the structure as well. You might want to buttress the 𝒊 a little bit with the forearm. So you've got quite a strong position. You can also do it onto the hip, but it loses some extension in a way. So you've got that, and then just feel that the 𝒊 is just taking a path, which if I don't stop it or I don't meet it, will just follow. So what I want to do then is just carve it away. So just play with it. The first you do it soft so that you don't feel you have to move. Yeah. That's it. That's it. It's coming in. Press it away. That's it, Keith. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And just use the 𝒊 at different levels of the body also. So come into the ribs. Come into the body. Going towards the head. Be very careful. Also towards the legs. We don't tend to do them, but also useful. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Good. Okay, so the good thing about not moving from the spot is it teaches me not to do two things. The first one is that we do it all the time in Aikido, unfortunately, and it's a very hard habit to get out of, which is this pushing away. So if I really exaggerate like this, pushing away from the body. And if I do that on the spot, and I know I can't move the feet as a rule, I just know straight away, this is not really functional. So the first one in that case, just get the sense they're actually in the middle of the posture each time. Again, it's very light, so I don't actually need to do much. So I'm not trying to add force and push it away. The second thing that we also do in Aikido, it's about coming off the line. So we tend to destroy the structure to get out of the way. So what you're actually doing is pulling the structure out or pulling the structure out of place to kind of get into it. Again, if you do this without moving, you find out very, very quickly, actually, this is a very weak structure to use, and I can't pass any real pressure through it. So just get the feeling in both cases of those. I want to, again, really focus on the base and the balance. The balance is king in this kind of area, because the moment I push out or pull the structure away from the contact point, just if you can, what you're looking to do is like re-divert the energy into the ground and out through the hand at the same time. Looks nothing like Bokken work, I admit, but what you're doing is the same thing as this. You find the ground and you extend out. Find the ground, extend out. Find the ground, extend out. So this is where it's nothing to do with push-pull or distorting the structure or pushing the body out. So it's really something else. That's it. And just if you now do it kind of soft, heavy, and the 𝒊's kind of constantly trying to track onto the body. So the 𝒊, all the 𝒊 wants to do in this case, or this arm, wants to do that into the body, and it's going to stay there. So you want to kind of press it out, and it's pushing back. Roll it out, and it's coming back. So just play a little bit with it. Also, a few times, just so you kind of testing yourself, really make sometimes let the jaw come onto the body. It comes through. Every once in a while, just give it to the body. Give it to the body. Give it to the body. This is also where you got into like ukemi work. I'm actually receiving it. And from that, it's coming into the body, and I'm going to try and receive it away. This is a little bit where we go to ukemi work, but actually all based on the same scale. So just keep it a bit playful. That's it. Also change sides every bit so often. That's it. That's it. And once you've got it, just start to move the feet around. So you've got the feeling now that just pressing into the body. Just going to roll it, roll it, roll it. And the first few, just keep the idea a little bit like if you're with a partner, it's a little bit like you'd be square on with the person. So you're kind of in this alignment with the person all the time. And when you revolve, you're going to stay in that alignment. So you're basically face to face. So you're doing this kind of thing. If you were to do with a partner, but in this case with the Joe, the feeling's like just kind of keeping that alignment. So I'm moving the body, but I'm not yet coming off the line. So you're not really coming off the line, you're just kind of shuffling the body around. And you're just getting used to the weight moving in the body. Feeling the feet and the ground underneath. And then once you've got it, just be a little bit more active with it so you can receive it, but you can also take it back. This is where you can start to go into kind of ikkyo motions, very easy. Iriminage, very easy to go into now. But just keep the idea, if I feel like I'm going into pushing, or again, breaking the structure out, just start to go a little bit slower and work your way back into it. So find the center, find the balance, and then take it away. Just change hands every so often. One hand will get a bit tired. Just work around. So just constantly trying to get to the center line or onto the side of the body. That's that. That's it. That's it. Nice. Okay, good. Then the next step in terms of Aikido work is not quite yet. You're going to start to work off the line, but it's really coming into the hammy. So we're going to do kind of priorities now. You're going to now come into the hammy each time. So when you move, you're going to try and always find the hammy. So now not really moving like a kind of square, shuffling, but really now stepping with it, which is going to allow a much wider range of motion. But just find it every time now coming into the hammy. And you're always going to be in some variation of hammy, so that can be quite wide. Think about like the Joe work, or it can be also quite narrow. Think about the Ken work, and everything really in between. But every time, try and look for that kind of triangular posture with the body, changing the hand every time, or every so often. Just get this kind of feeling. Again, don't feel you need to step all the time. You can also just hold the ground. Hold your ground. The tricky, the more you get into this, the more you'll feel both hands start to kind of blend together. So I need to keep reminding myself, I need to keep the Joe in this hand pressing onto the body. Otherwise the exercise goes away. And again, just start to work a little bit. Come into like ikkyo. Iriminage. Maybe shinage is possible. Oh, not really. That's it. That's it. And if you've got techniques in the mind, the main ones, ikkyo, iriminage, and all these kokyunage that we do. There's tons of the kokyunagi work because they only really rely on, obviously, on kokyu work. So a lot of those are very useful to go through. That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, and just start to emphasize now different directions of movement. So we're coming, you can work hammy and still be kind of face to face with the person. So still working kind of face to face like this way. What I want you to now explore is basically where you're going into rotation work, but it's much more about directions. So I want to either get behind the person or I want to get to the dead angle of the person. So if you're thinking about the person's like this, like the Joe, I want to stop kind of working on this kind of point and I want to start working this kind of point and working the dead angle in the person. So you're going to do it by rotation because that's just the nature of the posture that we've got. As you go in, you're going to be working really with rotations. But just get a feel now for this as it comes in. You've basically got 4 angles. You've got 2 to the front and 2 to the back because you can take the dead side. You can take the balance from the front side as well, from that side. Because of the posture we've got, you've got these 2 dead angles, this side, this side. If I can draw the person in, that gives you this side and that side. So just play with it a little bit. You've got these kind of 4 diagonals and they all involve, in this case, for as a rotation. Again, just think about techniques that you've got where you enter in, roll to the back. Again, it's a little bit tricky just to get the hands working. You do front hand or back hand. So you've got lots of combinations. Just working with an idea of weight, again, kokyu, and rolling the whole body. And you can think about these simple moves we do like Morotodori, where I'm getting into the side, rolling over to the back. It'd be very, very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. That's it, that's it, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Good. Yeah. Again, classic exercises like 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒖𝒊𝒔𝒆𝒄, these are really great ones to go towards. I basically switch between 𝒂𝒄𝒄 and iriminai and these kind of things. 𝒂𝒄𝒄's usually coming back. And iriminai is coming in. That's it. Okay, one last step to the exercise. What you do now is like draw the body in. It's like this, and you're going to go towards the head. So the feeling's really like I'm going to hit myself in the head. Okay, and when you start to move, you really go through the head with it. So what you do is like this. So you're really like, it's like a windscreen wiper, front of the head. And then I want the gel to just pass through the body like this. Okay, so you just play with that. And then what you do is you just make contact and then take the breath. So I'm going to take the gel away from the backhand. So you can do this forwards, backwards, to the front, to the side. You have contact and then grab and then just see what you've got with it. So again, 𝒂𝒄𝒄, iriminai, all these kind of things. But you're going to make contact, roll through it, take it, and just play with it. So you've got to really get this feeling like it's coming towards the body. Dong, dong, roll back, take it. And then you can go wherever you want with it. It's into techniques. This. And now you're really coming off the line because you have to. So if you don't come off the line in this one, or you can get away with not coming off the line because you're controlling it, but have the idea that you really need to leave the line now. Establish a new line. And that's it. Good one for this is kotagaishi, because it really involves like a slide to the side and grabbing. And then down. Yeah. Okay, this again where you need to be a bit evil dead. So what you need to do is like, what people do when I see this is like this, they do whang, whang, and then when on the one they're going to move, they do really slow. Whoa. And you've got all the time in the world, so there's no real panic to it. So get the sense that when you build up, it's like go, oh, yo, like this. And at one time you're going to hit yourself in the head. It's actually okay, but this. But really get the sense that I'm not going to make that easy for myself. So make it a bit hard for yourself. If you want, you can also work off the body, off the head. But it's really got to be, it's got to have a sense of, I got to have a little bit of a sense of danger. And it comes in. So again, you can do it to the ribs. They're a little bit trickier in terms of line work. So 𝒊𝒔𝒏 is a really good attack to train with because you've got a very clear vector. You can really start to play with rotating the body. And then later you basically twist it. You go into haymakers and all this kind of stuff, but have to start somewhere. So. So. Yeah, so again, what you'll notice with this, even this is again, it's kind of an 𝒊𝒂𝒄𝒏 work because what you're doing is like this. Now, watch if I do this. I've got this, and if I wait until this point to do it, I've basically got that happening. So I should be honest with myself to the point where that should really take my posture, where it should go right into the head with the hand. So I'm basically doing this hand so that it's gonna. That's too late. I basically crunch the body up. Now I can get away with it if I'm not really honest with myself and do like, whoa, oh yeah, that would. It's just like having a really cooperative partner where they're just going to give me everything. Useful when I'm learning movements, but not so useful later on. So get the sense that when you do this, the key to it's actually this block. As this goes up, this is going up too. And I'm actually going to meet it and blend with it. So I've got to meet the attack, meet it, blend with it, meet it, blend with it. So just get this feeling that what you're doing now is actually coming up, coming up, coming up. And if you do the 𝒊𝒏 work into the 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒖𝒊𝒏, I'm initiating that movement. So this is before that happens, comes in, and you can play with it. But be a bit, you can be quite rigorous with this as well because hopefully you won't do too much damage to yourself. But that's it. Yeah, you can also use strange weapons like the nunchuck. Nunchuck's a good one because it's so unpredictable. So I'm not so well trained with the nunchuck, so I don't really know where the tip is going to go when I do it. So when I do a movement like this, for example, I got no idea where the other nunchuck's going to go. I've got really no idea. And it can respond really in different ways. So really get a sense that when you've got these kind of movements, I need to be rolling with the body again. And if I have an idea about where it's going to go, it's going to hit me. And I'm trying to protect myself. So I need to have something a bit more positive as I do it. So, dunk. Oh, shit. Something like that. So that really needs a kind of blending. So just play with it. If you've got a pair of nunchucks around or something like a chain, these are good weapons to kind of play with because they're also unpredictable. Yeah.
I just broke the light bulb, so I have to take a break.
Ouch, you're in the dark. Yeah, something like that.
I don't know if it will work. Give it a go.
One of the best lessons I've had in Aikido was against a chain. So it was with two former army guys, and they came with a chain to the class, and we were trying Yokomen attacks, and it just failed every single time because if you're trying to deal with a chain object and you're trying to block it, it's not really going to work. So it just wraps around and hits you in the head. So good lesson, but yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay, great. Good. Yeah, so there's lots of ways you can take these, and the main thing is just to play with them so that you get some idea about working the body and relating to a jo or to whatever weapon. And the main thing is to build it up and kind of also split the things up, because we tend, if you think about like a technique like Taina Henko, there's a lot of things going on in that technique. It's a very simple technique, but you've got a lot of component parts to it. So it's nice to sometimes break it down and do it when you've got no one else to help you with it. You've got to kind of create it yourself. You can work with the system this way, so it's one way to do it. But the idea is to put it all together in the end and then try and feed it back into movements. But breaking it down is a good way. So knowing, like, do I actually have to come off the line or not is a good question. And this is basically how you work it. So, okay. And you can just take this anywhere. The best thing for this is to have some kind of feedback in an interactive practice, and then you can bring this practice into it and vice versa. So not quite where we are most of us yet, but that's great. We'll just come into some jo work for the end. So just coming into 𝒊𝒂𝒿, nice and basic. Just coming in and rolling through, nice and heavy. Nice and heavy. And you're doing that in a very, very formalized way, training very similar principles. Mostly about grounding and connection. All this extension work, center, leading. Whoosh. Okay, we just go straight into 𝒊𝒔𝒂𝒕. So coming in, ski, 𝒊𝒔𝒂𝒕, and then if you want, just rotate to the back with it. So you go ski, 𝒊𝒔𝒂𝒕. Just choose a new direction. Change the side. You're going to do left side, right side. Left, right. Rotate. Left, right. Let's keep it nice and calm. Breathe with full concentration through it. Center nice and low. You're working on the grounding. Good. Good, then we just introduced the Gedan into it. We did this yesterday, so what we're going to do is just come in here, roll back, and then this last movement, just do it all together. It just rolls through. If you're kind of just getting into it, just get this feeling, dong, striking through, and then rolling back. As soon as you feel kind of comfortable with it, just take it through. So you now do ski, hayagaishi, rolling back, and then just let it go all the way back. And then you can choose a new direction. Ski, hayagaishi, roll back, let it all go through. Choose a new direction. Just play with that. And if you want, you can break it again down into the 6-count kata, piece by piece. Or if you can kind of hold it all together, just keep it a little bit more fluid. Okay, and this is the dangerous thing in doing center work before everything's really in place. So watch this. Watch this. The center starts to do something like this. The center goes in and then pushes out. The center pulls back and then pulls it. The center pushes in and then this comes in. The center pulls back and then the hands go. And what you actually do is you're actually creating more separation because the hips are basically pulling away. And then I'm asking the hands to kind of pull from this, even worse than if I didn't do anything with the center. And just did something like that. This is why the Japanese are obsessive with training hands and feet together. So they don't really talk about the center. So there's a lot, but get this a sense that what you do is just hand and foot work. Now, if I feel like what's happening in that is like either that, or even worse, that. I'm actually creating really a big separation in the body. So just get a feeling that you can do this slow. This center leads, but everything goes. Center leads, everything goes. Everything goes. Everything goes. So the actual work of center work looks just the same as the hands and feet moving together. And it essentially is, but it's not at the same time because it's a totally different kind of organization. But just get this feeling that it's basically this one thing moves, everything moves. Now, if I'm moving from the center, everything should go with the center, should go with it. But the things are going to follow the center. They're not going to kind of stay where they are and then get pulled. Tricky. That's it. That's it. Okay, just watch the tip of the jaw when you do these movements. So just like I say, again, it's the same point, but see if you can get this up. If the tip of the jaw's not moving as the body goes, something like that, and in this one, something like that, actually I created a split because the jaw's not really coming with me anymore. So the jaw separates from me. It's like it's stuck in a wall and I'm pulling back and the jaw's stuck. So, but I don't want that to happen because I want everything to move in the jaw. So this is the point of the thing before. It's like everything's going to go together. The moment one thing goes or one thing stays and I move, you've created a split in the thing. So what you want in this case is all the jaw to go into movement, 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 movement. Yeah. So just in this case, just watch the tip of the jaw because it will give the jaw's basically giving you feedback on how you're using the center to the periphery. So just watch out for it. I don't want the jaw to feel stuck in any way. I want it to go straight into movement. That's it. That's it. There we go. Got it. That's it. Got it. That's it. Great, great, good, good, good. That's it. Got it. Okay, we're into a little bit of hasso work, but really good for, again, for the center hip connection. So just the first few, just break it down nice and slow. What I'm not going to do is this old way, so it's like coming to the side and then drawing over. Most of you, actually all of you got the hasso move. So see if you can get the kind of the actual teaching of it, where it says like rolling across the body, coming out to this position. I'm only going to go to the side of the head, but if you can also go up to the top. Just get the sense everything together. Again, really led by the center, but hands, feet, everything goes together. Just take it nice and slow. You can also really break this down. 1, 2, 3. And if you've got the 𝒉𝒂𝒕, just go to that last final position. The hand open. There we go.
Michael,
Yeah, sure.
is the thumb already out this side by the time you get to that block?
Yeah. And it actually, it doesn't matter so much, because if I'm in that kind of position, what I don't want to do is like that as I go through. So I don't as I slide the thumb, I don't want it to be in that kind of position. One, just because it will create kind of resistance. It means the hand's not fully open. And the second is you are risking kind of, if there's a strike in the way or something like this, you are risking kind of getting the thumb damaged. So what I prefer to do in this movement is let the hand go open. So I kind of get the point just like that, somewhere like that, and then the thumb's going to just, as it opens out, it's just going to kind of come across. I'm actually doing that kind of motion. So it's something like that. Yeah, that. And I'm a bit more interested in the palm contact as it goes, and then as I go through that into the finger, and then coming up, taking the. So you go, in that case, you go like palm to finger, finger to palm, as it goes, something like that.
Good, thank you. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. That's it. Nice, Catherine. There we go. Very nice. Even with gloves, totally possible. Great. Good. Totally. Yeah. So you got just watch this also. It's the same again, the same point. Really get the sense that you're always in contact with the jaw. So what I don't want to do is like somewhere along this point, let go, and then try and find it again. So I have the feeling that as you go, this hand's gonna like skim across the hand. What I'm using is this hand's my reference for where the jaw is. So if I lose that, although I know where my hand is, it's very difficult then to kind of find the jaw somewhere around here. And if I do it fast at speed, I can't really predict where the jaw is going to go totally. So my prediction will go off usually. So just get a sense that what you can do is actually use that part of the body, which is in this case the hand. So it's this. So it's got this kind of wipe. It's got this wipe across the body. And this is one that you can do at speed. But the other one, I can't really do at speed, trying to catch the jaw. So imagine do it quite fast. Or if you feel comfortable, do it quite fast. And I want to feel the point of it, how the connection breaks up as I do it. And the more efficient I can be with the handwork, the faster I can go with it later. That's it. Hand should be very soft. Yeah. Whoosh. There we go. Okay. So we'll do a few forms from the hasso the last couple of minutes. I'm going to do it with a bokken just because it just gives me just enough height, or less height, to do this movement. coming to here. So I want now to get to this position. So in this case, the hand's open, and this hand's right at the base of the jaw. So you can use a bokken if you've got my ceiling's pretty low, so hopefully you can do it. You got this, and then this, you get to that position. And then rather than here, take the jaw, I actually roll it up and up again. And then this hand's at the shoulder. Now from here to the first one is just coming into 𝒊𝒏𝒈, just coming straight through the body. So it's a nice movement because you're going off the center, anchoring the jaw off the center of the body, and then drawing it back to the center, right on the center line, and then straight through. So you go. So just play with this one. You roll back, nice and grounded here, and then anchor the body in, pull the jaw into the center of the body. And confirm with it. Give it a try. Hasso Gaishi Uchi. Nice.
Michael, are we finding the back? Are we finding the back?
No, in this, you can, if you're totally straight, find the back, but I think it's really pointless because you're in this position totally off the body, and then if I go to here and then find, it's like another action I don't need to make. So I do those in the early 𝒊𝒏𝒈, but not in the late one. So you can, and if you've got a super strict teacher, they'll probably tell you to do it, but you go to that, don't do that, and then when you do this, what I prefer is just to do that, and then come through with it. Because the movement later doesn't include that. I don't like to add movements that I don't actually need later. So in the case of the early, it's a bit different, but pulling back into the center. So you can play with it, but for me, it adds another movement that I don't really want to do. That's it. Whoa. Yeah, very nice. Good, great. Very nice. So the last couple of minutes, play with it, and you can also, in this case, if you kind of know the movement quite well, just get a feel for it being very slow, rolling through it, coming into it. So in this case, you're going to go right into the form. So it's slow. This. It's just this super slow. It's a really tricky movement. It's one of the easiest of the hassos to do fluid. This. This is really nice for the handwork. If I can get this feeling of like subtlety, I don't think that's a word, suppleness in the hands. Oh no. Now just note there's a real correlation between the feet. If my feet go into tension, just watch this, if my feet go into holding the body up, my hands will also go into gripping. So if you think about it, your body's used to, if the feet are kind of uncomfortable, the hands will start to kind of grip. So they start to tighten up. So the more I can release down into the ground, the easier the handwork can be. Because the structure will feel solid enough that the hands don't feel like they need to cling to the body. So you've got this handwork, this, and then the key one is getting that and that to open at the same time. I feel a little bit at the beginning like the jaw's out of control. But as long as I can maintain the ground underneath it, just get away with it nice and slow. There. Boom! And it comes in like that. That's it. That's the last few. This is really great for footwork grounding. That's it. Nice. That's it. It's the last few, just super slow. Really focusing on the bodywork. Hips. Nice solid base. Really pliable upper body and hands. That's it, Roland. Good. Nice. Wham! Yo! Last 30 seconds or so. You can do this one fast. So what you do is like this. So I don't go into the change of the hand in this case. So before you're doing like this and then this opening out, in this case, just keep that hand where it is and you just press the body in. So it's a bit more. It's not really a vertical strike like that. It's much more of a movement like that. So it's kind of waving across the body this way. 1, 2, and this is a really fast movement. Like this, and it's like a double slap. Goes like this. So one receives, and then the other comes in. Boom, strikes. So let's give it a try. This is really like a 𝒂𝒂𝒄𝒿 form, so not a basic one. We're really reliant on the upper body. Hips to be in place. That's it. Think like doing a really direct 𝒂𝒂𝒄𝒿. Straight down into the ground. Yeah, that's it. Good. That's it. That's it. So it's a little bit where the system goes because we start with these very, very basic movements like wrong, and then what we do is make them quite soft. So we start to make them softer, and then we start to make them big. So big and round, and we start to do these kind of movements. This. And then really at the end, you do something like this. Whoa! This becomes very direct. And that's where the 𝒂𝒂𝒄𝒿 form goes. And that's also what happens with the weapons. So you start with big, clear, stepping movements, make them a bit supple, make them big and round, and then you make them super direct as you do them. So all the system works this way in our case. So that's the good thing about the weapon work. Just translates straight away into the rest of the system. There we go. Great. Okay, we'll bow out. We've gone over time. どうもありがとうございます。
どうもありがとうございました。
Okay, great. Very nice. So that's the end of the week, I think.